Storage Account. So Azure Storage Account, generally, I would say that is where you can store things in Microsoft Cloud. Like, I mean, storage. Like, you have volume of storage. I'm going to talk about the subdivisions later, but like in AWS, we call it S3 buckets. But in Azure, Microsoft Azure, we call it storage account, meaning that if you have large files, you have files, or you have things you want to store and you want to be coming back to pick those things, like you have videos, you have other things, anything you can think of that you want to store in Azure, you can use a storage account to store it. So now we have things, categories inside the storage account. You have what is called a blob storage, you have what is called a file storage, you have what is called a you have what is called sorry please, you have what is called a queue, you have a table. But in our class today, I will put more emphasis on blob storage, file storage. But queue and table are just like this your SQL table, but literally not SQL table, but literally I don't know, maybe I've seen a SQL table before. When you query a database, you see you have something like your queue, you have something like your table. Those ones are literally like when you have Azure, sorry, my SQL database, how this queue and table kind of look like. So I don't want to get into all those things, but majorly we'll talk about blob storage and we'll talk about file storage in storage account. So I will give a practical view. While I'm doing the practical, I will explain it better for you to see. So now, how do you create a storage account in Azure? What you do is that you go to your search option here and just search for storage. Oh, sorry, my network. So let's search for storage account. Can you see storage accounts? Just open your storage account. Please wait while it's loading. So we'll be creating a storage account. Just see, these are you create a storage account, kind of. Just click on create. Okay, so we have created other resources in Azure before, so we'll follow that same format also when creating storage accounts. So we should just get used to it. Uh, we have your subscription, you have your resource group. So we are selecting our DevOps training resource group, and the storage account name, we can call it DevOps training. If the name already exists, it will tell you that that name is already used. So we can just add 2026 to it, or you can add a random number based on the one that is fair for you. So we are using ECUS, preferred storage type. You understand? So just you can leave this empty. I'll explain it. There are some storage accounts whereby all what they just want to use the storage account for is for blob storage. You can select blob storage. This one will create only blob storage for your storage account. Or you want to use it for file storage only, you cannot choose Azure File Storage majorly. Or you want to create other tables like queue and tables only. So that maybe when you have specific storage account you want to create, that's when you now choose this preferred option. But if you are not selecting a preferred option, you can just leave it blank like this. Also, now let's go to the next thing, performance. So you have standard and you have premium. I think I've talked about it initially. I said that when you have standard, that means generally used and it's general purpose V2, you know, that kind of thing. But when you have premium, premium you definitely pay more, and the cost is actually high than the standard storage account. Also, now let's go to redundancy. I will explain this redundancy for you. So let me start first with LRS. So LRS means locally redundant storage. You get it? So local redundant storage means that you have a storage account is placed in a data center on one particular rack. Do you understand that concept I explained? You have a storage account is placed in a data center on one particular rack and it is there. That one. So now geo-redundant storage account. So geo-redundant storage account talks about you have a storage account, but that same storage account is replicated in different data centers in that particular region. No, that particular region, that particular zone where you have your storage account. That's where you have geo-redundant. Now, zone redundant. Zone redundant storage account talks about you have your storage account in a particular zone and it's already you have that a copy of that same storage account in another zone as a fallback, meaning that when a particular zone or a region is down, like for instance, say North America region is down, you have Europe or West Europe region to be up. So your storage account is replicated based on region purposes. So that's when you have zone redundant storage. Now you have geo-zone redundant storage is virtually almost the same thing also. So, but you can go up and read up on it. So that's the literal things that all this storage account does. So I had a short video where I explained it. I'm going to post it also in the link. So it's just talk about how you have a major storage account, your primary storage account, but it can be replicated. This redundancy talks about the replication of that storage account, meaning that if the storage account goes down in this my primary data center or my primary zone or my primary region, I have a backup of that storage account somewhere else. Please, do you understand that concept? So that's how it's
Sorry, sir, please can you go through again? So
I should go through it again. Okay. So when I talk
thank you.
about when I talk about redundancy, so literally when you have a storage account is in Microsoft data center, it replicates that storage account. Like I think three times. It replicates it three places in that particular data center where your storage account is. Why it replicates it is that even though that rack where your storage account is goes down, you can still be able to access your files, your whatever you store in your storage account. So far, it is still in that same data center. The rack can go down, but you can still access your storage. That is the concept that Microsoft does for storage accounts. Meaning, so what this thing does for us is that at no time should your files or storage accounts are not accessible. Please, do you get that concept? At no time should your files or your details are not accessible. Meaning, another thing it talks about there is that it can replicate it based on a particular data center. It can replicate it based on multiple data center, but in the same region. Please, we have talked about region here when we're talking about East US and so on and so forth. It can replicate like in East US now, they can have like 3 or 4 data center in East US. Do you get it? It can replicate your storage account in a particular data center. Don't worry, you are still paying for one, no problem. It can replicate it on 2 or 3 data centers together. That's on that concept, but you know that the cost of that one will definitely be higher. You understand? But when you are now replicating across region, you are replicating across UK, South, Central US, East US, you know that your data will be available in all those regions, but the cost will now be what more higher, kind of. You understand? So that is what this redundancy literally talks for you. Also, another thing again, I you can see here, you see this option, make read access available in the event of a regional unavailability, meaning that if you are using geo redundant storage, if a particular region is down, the other region that is your fallback region will be available, but meaning that you can still be able to access your data in that other region. That is what this thing talks about. But in this process of our training, we are going to choose the local redundant storage because we are not planning to use anything big in it. Please, can you see it? I'm choosing local redundant storage. Next thing I want to talk about here is in the advanced option. Um, require security transfer of reset API, blah blah blah. I don't think we need anything much or anything. Enable storage account key access. We'll check it as yes. The default Microsoft Enter authorization. We don't have a Enter authorization here. Enter authorization means that when you have something like a Azure Active Directory, just generally quote and unquote Active Directory. So that's what this one is talking about. The next thing here you want to look at is that it's telling you that minimum TLS version, please just leave it as 1.2. That's the latest. Permitted scope of copy operation from any storage account. You understand? So it should be available publicly. Hierarchy, namespace, and so on and so forth. You can leave everything here. So now I want to talk about this blob storage and access tier. Access tier talks about how frequent do you want to be able to access their data. You understand? When you see hot, means that it is frequently accessed. That means everybody comes to access that data like every now and then. You understand? When you see cool, you are seeing that it's infrequent access data. You understand? You understand? That means I access it, but I don't access it every now and then, kind of. I would prefer we choose this. You understand? For the code means that I rarely access data. I'm dropping the things there on the storage account, but I don't think I'm going to come and check it in the next 2 months or 3 months or 4 months. So that's when they use code. Please, do you get that concept of this access tier? Access tier means how frequent or how often you'll be accessing your data in the storage account. Good. The next thing again I want us to talk about next, networking. So public access, we are going to enable public access on this storage account that we are creating, enable connection from every network, kind of. But when we have when it goes to our advanced classes, we'll be talking about how to integrate your storage accounts to Microsoft Internet, meaning that you are using private endpoint connections and how to connect it to selected virtual network. But for now, I don't want to bore you with all those things. But presently, on the networking, put it on public access as enabled and public network access scope as enabled for all network. Thank you very much. And leave the internet routing like like it is. So just leave it that way. So for data protection, so let me start with it. Point to time restore container. So this point to time restore of containers talk much about um how would I explain it? Just like a versioning control of your data in Azure. But also please note all these things come with their own costs also. Now for soft delete means that when I delete something in my blob storage or I delete anything, that thing that I delete will still be available for the next 7 days. Please, do you understand? So when I delete a particular file in my blob storage, in the next 7 days, I can still come back and say, no, I'm reverting this thing back. That is what this soft delete talks about. And same thing goes for soft delete for containers. I'm going to explain these containers and blob very well for you. We'll get there, but don't worry. And also for file share, you can enable soft delete for it also, meaning that if you delete anything from the file share, you can be able to access it in the next 7 days. And you can select the days that you prefer, if you want it to be 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days. That's what soft delete really means. So after 7 days that is there, the thing is going to automatically now be deleted. Please, do you understand? So, so the next thing again is tracking, enable versioning. I don't want us to bore ourselves with all these things, version control, and so on and so forth. The next thing again I want us to look at is encryption. Encryption, meaning that encryption means that when you store something in Azure, like in your keywords, or you store it in your storage account, Microsoft has a way to encrypt that file when it is storing it. Have any of you seen this thing, BitLocker? You have seen how BitLocker works on system. So,
Yes, sir.
so that's how Microsoft does that encryption. So it will encrypt your files there. So kind of, so nobody can just come there and access it anyhow because it is already encrypted. But you can come in, open it with the right permission, and you'll be able to access your files and documents. So now you have two types of encryption type. You have encryption that is done by Microsoft, or you can choose your own kind of encryption. You understand? You see, when I clicked on my own kind of encryption, I will have to provide the details of my own encryption keys. But I'll prefer to use Microsoft encryption. Please, do you get it? Now, the next thing we'll talk about here again is enable support for customer managed keys. So just leave this thing alone. We are not using customer managed key, we are using Microsoft managed keys. The next thing is tags. I've talked about it last time. Let us try to ensure that we put tags like department. We can say DevOps training, DevOps bootcamp 2026, and next, and these all the details that we need to create our storage account. Can you see all the details? And that's all. After that, you click on create, and your storage account is being created. So I don't want you guys to feel bored about storage account processes. Don't worry, with time, you'll be able to see how it's being done, kind of. You are going to create yours again as an assignment today. And I'll give you kind of two assignments. One, you have to create a storage account, and the second one, you have to do this thing. Connect your storage account to your virtual machine. I'm going to show you how to do that also, but no problem. So the storage account has been created. Let's go to our resource. Can you see our storage account? So you can see everything in our storage account. These are the details of the storage account, the name, location, subscription, and so on and so forth. These are all the details that are in this storage account, kind of. Um, Now, let me now show you the major things I want you to be aware of. Mainly, I said that in storage accounts, you have four underlying categories under it. Number one, you have your blob storage. Number two, you have your file storage. Three, queue, and four, table. So let's go there. So now go to your let's go to data storage. So under your data storage, you can see containers. Containers means blob storage. Please, do you understand? You can see it here, the four: blob service, file service, queue, and table. You can see it. So it's still the same thing as containers, and your blob is the same thing. So I don't want you to make a confuse. Which English term am I using? I don't want you to confuse uh, containers in storage account to containers in container registry or Docker or Kubernetes. Don't confuse it. They are two different things. So this is a container in storage account. Is different from you talking about container image or container registry and so on and so forth, or Dockerized and containerized services. Leave that one aside. Here we are talking about containers in storage account. So in containers, you have what we call I can create different containers for different purposes in my storage account, or you can call this blob. So creating my uh, first container, first container, and create advanced. So just create your first container. So this is my first container that I'm creating. Now I can show you how I can upload. Cannot access the endpoint. I'm calling police. Sorry, it was my network. So I can choose to upload files from my system into the container. Like for instance, I want to upload a file from my system. Okay, let me just choose to upload this Gemini AI picture. You can see upload it to my blob storage. Can you see it? So this is the file that is on my system. I've uploaded it to the blob storage. I can now click on it and I can share the link to you and you guys can be able to access it. Let me drop it on the group chat here. So this is what I just uploaded now. So when you want to send files to people, you can upload it in your blob storage. Just copy the link of that particular file and send it to people and they'll be able to access it. Please, do you understand? So the same thing goes for um, applications also. You can be able to access files, PDF files. You can upload PDF files. You can upload videos. You can upload. You like now when I click on upload, I don't know, maybe you guys saw it. You saw that there are different kind of files here. It said that I can choose any kind of files I want to upload here, any kind of files, be it videos, pictures, applications, different kind of files. I can upload any one of it to my blob storage. Please, do you understand that? So that's about blob storage container. So let me go back to my. Now I want to talk about file storage. File storage also is just like your blob storage. You understand? You don't like I say file storage also is just like my blob storage. I can say, okay, my first file storage. I can now say, okay, my first file storage, first file on this. Next backup. I'm not backing up anything. Review and create. Okay. So So this is my file storage now. I can now choose to say, okay, I want to upload a particular file in this my file storage. Upload, choose file that I want to upload. I can choose any of my file. Also, I can say, okay, I want to upload uh, this ChatGPT picture, upload it. Provide file already exists. Provide and upload. My files are already uploaded. So I can now go to browse. You can see my file here. My file is already uploaded. Okay, that's about file storage. Now, so I think that's the major two things. For the queue and tables, I don't think you really necessarily need more information about, you don't need more information about queue and table. So I think that is that about storage account generally.